Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level?
Bitcoin's over 9,000!
9,000? There's no way that can be right, can it?
It's going to the moon!
See, now I would love to say that we're still going to over 9,000, we are over 9,000 as it were, but the fact of the matter is, since the time of putting that together, that fact is no longer true, and welcome to the rollicking world of Bitcoin. Alright, and to help us break all of this down, we're joined by our very own technical analyst from New York, Joe Saz. Joe, I wanted to celebrate with more Vegeta memes, but now here we are around the 8,600 mark. What the hell's going on?
Well, first and most importantly, save that Vegeta meme. I think it's going to be very useful here in a few days. This is, to me, this is clearly a shakeout. The liquidations, if I remember correctly, were, man, I just briefly looked, and I shouldn't say what I don't remember, but there was a lot of liquidations here, long liquidations, and I think maybe 160 or 120K short liquidations. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe people really started to FOMO short the bottom or something, like 50x, 100x. But I don't know. I'll have to do some more digging. This appears to me to be nothing more than a shakeout. I still think we're in a roaring bull market, and we're going to have these types of things along the way. It's really funny to me, though, that this is a single candle move. Now, I'm going to run this back and basically just quickly say I'm prepared for this thing to go a little bit further to the downside. 8,500 was kind of like my pullback target. Now, one candle is a little too aggressive for a pullback. We didn't unfortunately get 9,400 before we broke down to 85. We came close-ish. And I think that this pullback target is reasonable. The fear target, which, I don't know if we need, because we just knocked, I think, tens of millions of longs out of the market. It could be much more than that. It could be into the hundreds of millions. But I just took a quick glance. Anyways, this definitely did enough to accomplish the fear goal. And that was what my 8,200 target was. So I'm going to say 8,200 is not quite as on the table as it otherwise would have been, say, at 8,900, when we were having so much trouble breaking this overhead resistance in the 8,900 space. I mean, man, there was so much resistance here. We finally broke through, right before the McGregor fight against Cerrone. Of course, that was also fantastic. So we had a nice little something going on there. But then,
a causal relation, I'm sure. Whenever McGregor whenever McGregor wins, Bitcoin soars. Is that the hypothesis?
I think so. The McGregor indicators, and we'll have to put that together. We still a great move. I mean, finally we broke through that 9,000 range, and we sustained it for a good bit of time. I mean, I don't think our wings are singed from flying too close to the sun here. I don't think this is a dead cat bounce that went out of control, and now we're correcting into a back into a bear market or anything. I think the bull market is still roaring. I think 8,500 was the new fear target once we made it up past 9K into the 9.2 range, or capping out at 92. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable about adding to a leveraged position here or creating one. Low lev, 0 to 5x. I think these are looking fantastic. We're grossly now. Just to one quick note before we leave the small time frame, which is my favorite place to spend time. We did get some serious. We're at a very oversold condition right now. Well, during the pump, of course, and this is Contango. Now, I don't normally pay much attention to it, but when we do dip below, when the RSI does dip below I think those are June expiration futures, we get a bounce, and I'm really feeling bullish off of this. I think this move was a really stupid fucking sell, and or it could have been a shakeout. Either it was a really stupid fucking seller, or it was a shakeout, and we know shakeouts happen. Those could be exchange manipulation, whatever you want to call it. But this is Bitcoin, like you said. This is a rodeo, man, and these bulls kick. So and bears, I guess, too. But here we have it. You know, it's a classic shakeout in my eyes, and this is where I'm gonna buy the effing dip. I'm not really scared of this kind of move anymore. This is kind of what you got to plan for when you're trading Bitcoin. So I'm cool. This is a move where I'm going to be stacking, and you know, let's take a quick look. I just wanted to point out while we're on this chart, bullish crossover the 5200 exponential moving averages, and a quick move along now to the daily, just the traditional daily chart that we've been using. Now, we did break what is this long trend line. This trend line goes all the way back to the top of the descending triangle at 14K, right? And we've broken this and we sustained the run. Oh, wait, we're on the 4 hour. One sec. Now, I was going to say, well, I wonder why I'm not zooming back and I'm not seeing it. So this is a nice trend line. We did have a little chance, and interestingly enough, this did correlate with Contango. And let me get rid of this. So I'm still, you know, we have a really strong indication here that, you know, this was a big pump due to happen, right there. We got a little one in, we got a little one in here, and another spike here, which kicked everything off. Now on the daily, you know, Contango is still, you know, we're not in any particular state that I see that's sounding any alarms. I do know that CME futures did close Friday at 89.25. So I'm not expecting this 8,500 to hold for very long. So, you know, we're trading well above this trend line still, and we haven't broken the daily lucid SAR. We're about 2 days or a day away from a bullish crossover of the short and intermediate term moving averages. And it's funny, I actually think I don't know if Socrates pays attention to this particular short and intermediate term 51.28 simple moving average. But I think one of the things I saw him say was he wanted to see a pullback into the crossover, and here it is. I mean, this to me is the pullback into the crossover. Maybe it could get a little more violent. The crossover is going to crossover at just about 8,200, which is my fear target. So that kind of makes me a little scared, to be honest. I do not want to be right about that one. But here we have it. You know, we're days away from a bullish crossover. We're trading above a very strong trend line, and I think it's now been broken. We spent enough time outside of this trend line for me to consider this trend line invalidated and a new one emerging. So, you know, let's. I'm a bull. I'm really looking forward to this run, and I think we need to be prepared for these shakeouts along the way. Don't overreact. You know, it's pretty much as simple as that.
All right, keep cool heads prevailing. As you said there, Joe, you said 8,200. That's the target where you think that that could change your mind on how bullish this market is and whether this is just a dip or something a little more serious?
That's the area where I would expect people to start pulling the plug, you know, losing their minds, panic selling. And I do think that buyers would step in. I call it the fear target because I think that's where people will get emotional. But where emotion runs high tends to be where bulls or whales, let's say, are willing to step in. You know, maybe the book is stacked with liquidity at that point, you know, on sell side, and a whale wants to market buy that. Maybe a whale has tons of limit buys in the book, and he wants sellers to eat into that, so the whale can, you know, take a smaller fee on their orders. So I think that's the fear target. I don't think all hell's going to break loose and 8,200 means 75 is up next or anything like that. I just think that 8,200 is where people are going to lose their shit and, you know, probably sell more than they, you know, probably oversell. And I don't think that's going to be a smart decision. I think we're going to pop right out of there. I would expect to see a nasty wick off of 8,200.
All right. So then,
back up.
Right. So then let's head away from Bitcoin for just a second, leave that be in the little dip it's found itself in, and take a look at some of the alts out there and what they're doing. Any that have caught your eye in particular, Joe? Anything worth focusing on out there in the market?
Nothing that caught my eye just yet. Let's do a quick run through. Let's start with XRP because I know we haven't looked for a little bit here. So XRP might have found a bottom. I'm still not sure. This doesn't necessarily act the same way the entire market does. You can see it's barely only broken the 50 moving average and lost its fight to the let's see, intermediate term in this case is the 125. So we've lost the 125 and we've broken down with a 5% move. XRP not looking fantastic. I'm actually neutral. I think this could be a bottom, but let's wait and see on XRP. I think it does act a little differently. Now, this is what I wanted to run through. Let's run through like a few altcoins quickly. Now we're riding high, well above the 200-day moving average. And I didn't even look at here. We were rejected off the 200-day moving average now about twice, maybe 3 times. So Bitcoin definitely lost that fight a couple times. Good to note. Anyways, we're here on Bitcoin Cash, Roger Coin. Now we did pump. We had a nice wick. I mean, this looks like pretty similar to what Bitcoin did. We found a nice space and pulled back. Now, I would say not to overreact. Being as giving you the objective picture here, this is still looking good to me. We're about 6 or so days away from a bullish crossover, assuming we don't violently break down. 4 to 6 days or so. So I'd say keep your cool on Bitcoin Cash. Now let's run through BSV. USD, and probably get some quick numbers here. Bitfinex. Okay, now we've already started retracing about 75% or so of this run. Just from a quick observation. Let's see. We pumped 144%, down 25, 8, 12, 1. Now that doesn't equal 75%, but you can see that the body of the candle is mostly consumed here. We're nearing full retrace levels, and it's going to be funny if this thing really does a full retrace. That's going to be such a wild move. And the worst part about it is I'd probably expect another pump like this to happen if we do full retrace. That's the kind of shady shit that Craig is into. So Craig and Calvin. So I would be prepared for anything with BSV. These hash wars are going to kick off a lot of bad, I think, manipulative type activity. Let's run through Ethereum real quick. As numbers reported by Coinbase, so it suffered a pullback as well after nearing the 200-day moving average. Negative 6% move on the day. Support found at the intermediate term moving average. Things aren't looking terrible. I think this move just, the wider market needs a minute to really reel from this move. It does seem to be dramatic. But again, it's not that dramatic relative to what the space is used to. So just everyone keep your cool. I don't like ETH. I don't like Bcash. I don't like Bcashers. I don't like ETH heads. I think their investments are stupid. But either way, I'm going to say this is not the time to panic sell. I think all these things are going to recover here pretty quickly. And then I really wanted to look at Litecoin quickly as well, just to see where we are. Same thing, almost the same thing as ETH. But we've had about 3 wicks closer, 1 extra wick closer to the 200-day, and a 5% move to the downside so far. Haven't really reached support at the intermediate term moving average, but and I don't think we necessarily need to. Like I said, we've run through it. I think this market just needs a second to cool off. Sellers definitely jumped on something. Something kicked us off, and I'm inclined to think this was a stop hunt / liquidation hunt. There were tons and tons of liquidations. So pretty much, this gigantic move to the downside was merely a liquidation / stop hunt. Now I'm inclined to think that this was more of a liquidation hunt because we do have the reported numbers by BitMEX being around just over 100 million lost in long liquidations. So that's definitely ugly to me. I think that is a little bit dramatic. 100 the massive figure liquidation there. Now there's probably tons and tons of stops in that period too. I think people would have been exiting in the money. So I think a lot of longs lost positions, whether it was due to stops taking profit, stops losing money, or even in stops getting liquidated in over 100 mil. So or positions getting liquidated, not stops. So anyways, I'm just I think that this was designed to hurt, and it did hurt a lot of people. And I would say keep your cool, let this thing ride back up. I'm expecting a full retrace on this, and some, and probably some more, to be honest. So that's the one thing that I'm thinking in my head as I see a move like this at a time like this in a market that's this bullish. The psychology is so positive. Everything is really lining up for this to be a shakeout more so than a reversal.
It sounds like it could be an exciting time in the market indeed, Joe. I have to see if this dip does play out just as a dip or if it's the start of the horrible bear market that's yet to come. But as we say, the charts don't seem to show that that's likely, so we'll just have to try and ride this one out. Joe Saz from New York, I want to thank you so much for helping to break down this market. Let the cool heads prevail. For those at home, keep watching at blocktv.com for all the latest in news and information. I'm Asher Westropp-Evans. Thanks for watching.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.